Welcome to the Explosive Strength Podcast with Jared Bidney. On today's episode, I have Daniel Blair here with me. Daniel is a baseball pitcher, or going to be a baseball pitcher for Winthrop University, right?
Yep.
And we're just going to talk about the training process, his experience. He's also a pitcher, so we'll get the idea of pitching and lifting. So anyway, here we go with Daniel Blair on today's episode of the Explosive Strength Podcast. Hello, Daniel.
What's up, Jared?
Hey, usually I start off by asking people, how did you first hear about the gym? Like, what brought you to, was it baseball or football, or what kind of brought you to the gym?
It's kind of a mixture of things. Me and I have two brothers, obviously, who have also come to you. Started at a real young age. Kind of my dad wanted us to be better in sports in general. So we're all three sport athletes at some point in time. And just, my dad knew that strength helped, but wasn't the knowledgeable person about it, so he found you from, I'm guessing, surrounding friends. The Kinnemans came and stuff like that. So just, you were a popular person at that time.
Awesome. So, do you have natural throwing ability, or did you have to kind of work at it?
I'd always been athletic, but in regards of mechanics, I was never great, but I came here and got really strong. And freshman year, I was touching 87, which was a top percentile, and I mean that's kind of when I came all the time. Then when I knew I wanted to focus on baseball, for whatever reason I stopped coming, and velo didn't go up for 2 or 3 years, pretty much all high school. Then I came back, going into senior year, and started working out again, and finally started making my jumps towards the 90-mile-an-hour range.
So as you was working out, you was throwing harder and you quit.
Yeah, I quit and didn't gain any velocity.
But that's kind of what the opposite of what most people think. You're a pitcher,
Yeah.
right? Are you a pitcher only, or do you hit or anything?
I just pitch.
Pitch only. And a lot of people are against baseball players working out or lifting weights in general. They want to do bands and some crazy things like that, because people are scared that they're going to get hurt.
Yeah, people, especially pitchers specifically, they always talk about mobility and stuff like that, and how, oh, if I bench, I'll lose mobility in my chest, my shoulders, and now that I've gained knowledge on it, it's not true, and people don't know enough about that. I mean, of course, if you do something the wrong way, you can get hurt from it, but if you do something the right way, it's only going to benefit you, I think. But
yeah, I think if you get stronger, or as you get stronger, your ligaments and your tendons are a lot thicker and more, or have the ability to handle more force. And if you don't strengthen the arms in the right manner, I don't think you're going to be able to throw.
I think
you'll be able to throw hard, but I think your limiting factor is going to be the strength of your ligaments and tendons.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I honestly think being strong prevents injury more than lifting creates the injury, just because being a stronger person, like, your body knows how to take care of itself better because it's used to the strain.
You mentioned that you stopped working out and you lost velo, right?
I lost velo, yeah.
Rachel Vaughn, she pitches for South Carolina. She did the same thing too, and she tried, as she got offered, and I guess she quit training for strength training, because people have strength training at school, but it's not the same, right?
Yeah, a lot of coaches just think, oh, do mechanical stuff, work on your craft,
That's about half the pie.
Yeah, it's good, but you need both to be especially at the SEC level, to excel. And I think she started figuring that out now that she's been there, that coaches got her back into lifting, and I know, like, she still talks to you and everything like that.
Yeah, she comes home on break when she gets a chance. So you said you started off around 87 as a freshman?
As a freshman.
Do you think it's possible for someone to go from 80 to 90 in 2 years?
Without a doubt. I mean, I've seen it happen personally, from between working out with you, people who come here. I've seen people make jumps from 70 to 80, 80 to 90, 85 to 95, I think.
You can pretty much train anything into you, as long as you work hard enough, right?
Yeah.
Because I got a kid here, he went from throwing 63 to 80 in 13 months. Bryce Hell, and he threw 80 as a high school freshman.
Yeah.
And we didn't do any specific thing throwing for him. His mother was just concerned, make sure we lift in the right direction and things like that. She was worried if the lifting was going to hurt him, because that's what people continue to hear over and over. Don't lift, don't do anything, bench or overhead movements or anything else, the strength, but if you look at the biomechanics of it, Your pectoralis major and your minor, your rotator cuff, and your triceps and your biceps breakout all involved in throwing. And so if you strengthen all of those muscles, you know, strengthening a muscle is just not working out, getting it bigger. It's not like a bodybuilder. You're not coming in here, we're doing like 10 sets of biceps.
Yeah.
You have to strengthen the muscle more in a neuromuscular fashion in order to make that muscle a lot stronger without necessarily making it big, because if you get too big, you'll compromise your throwing and your mechanics.
Yeah, you don't want to get too big without, but I think also a lot of things you implement have mobility put into it at the same time, so.
Yeah, but you're not an overly big guy, but you've been lifting for years, right?
Yeah, since 8th grade, like 5-6 years I've been lifting, and I'm not huge by any means, but.
Yeah, and this girl here, Sarah Latham, she went from throwing 50 miles an hour to throwing 63 in about 13 months as well.
13 miles in 13 months.
Yeah, so some people can average. I had a team last year that averaged, in 3 months, the team average went up 7 miles an hour on throwing speed. And I don't do anything throwing specific with them, besides they're so weak.
Yeah.
If you strength train them and you test them on specific things, like I like to do, their numbers will get better. But you do a lot more throwing. You also lift, but you also go to NPH, right?
NPH Throwing Academy, it's down the road.
Yep. And you got a unique thing because you get to see a lot of those kids change too.
Without a doubt.
What do you see most there? What do you think an average person can increase in a year? You said going 80 to 90. What about going from 85 to 92? What do you think the slow point is? Once you get above 93, what do you think?
Yeah, once you kind of hit even above the 9-mile range, like you definitely, it's harder to gain. Like a lot of people would hear you hit the 135 mark or the 225 mark, and it's hard to make big jumps at that point because you've reached that point. But I've seen people over there make huge jumps. I've made some people make 4 miles per hour. But honestly, the first thing that Casey and Kyle say over at MPH is they'll look at kids and they'll be skinny and they say the best thing for you is to eat more, to gain some weight and lift weights and get strong. That this is only a compliment to that.
Yeah.
So they, even as just pitching guys, and obviously they want their business, but I know they advise guys to go lift, go eat more. So that's novel pitching guys who've had, Ben Baggett's at Stanford, Thomas Spars committed to South Carolina, like 2 95+ guys with.
Yeah, Rachel also throws there.
Rachel's been there and she made huge jumps. Ava Tillman's at Ole Miss, they've got some people, and the biggest thing for everybody there is just lift more.
Lift more and work on it. And that's what Ben was telling me about. He said, Jared, I just got to get strong.
Yeah.
I just got to get strong. I was going to try to call him today with you. We was going to talk about where he started. He started at 80 as high school.
Yeah.
And this past year he hit 95. He said he would have been probably 96, 97 if he wouldn't have got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So anything about 90 is pretty much like a 30-inch vertical, kind of easy to get to, you think?
Yeah.
Well, if you work,
if you know what you're doing, yes.
Yeah.
Like for instance, people here, I think you know how to train a good 30-inch vertical, and like for instance, in MPH, I think they can teach 90 miles per hour. But for people who don't know it, it's a hard thing to get to.
a lot of people are in the mindset that you are what you are.
Yeah.
But like I keep throwing Ben's name out there. Ben said he was not born that way; he was built.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, you are what you are, and that's totally false. You can change. Kyle and KC, they can throw. Yeah. They are throwing coaches that actually still throw.
Still 27, 28 years old, still throwing.
Yeah, because if they can't do it, how are they going to teach someone else to do it? You know, and I think that's what I like a lot about them is, I think when I'm through 97 the other day on a pull down. Do you remember? Did you see it?
Casey's pulled down 100 before with 5-ounce baseball. So
okay,
he worked for it though. So I think he started in 97 and worked to it and built himself as a 27-year-old father of his son right now and built himself up to 100. So 4 miles per hour is 27 years old who hasn't played in years.
What do you think the difference between a pull down and a throw is? You think it's 7 miles an hour? What do you think? I talked to Ben. Ben's best was 102 on a pull down.
102 on a pull down.
And his top throwing speed off the mound was 95. Mm-hmm. What's your top pull down?
My top pull down is 98 and my top off the mound is 94.
Oh, so you're pretty close, about 4 mile an hour difference.
Yeah, anywhere from 7 to even some people are closer. It just kind of depends on the.
What do you think the limiting factor is? Strength and combination, strength and speed.
The pull down training, a lot of it is to try to teach your body how to move at that efficient of a rate onto the mound. So obviously you're running and throwing, your body's moving quicker compared to if you're on the mound, like you've got to create more of it by yourself.
Yeah.
So some people just have a harder time learning to speed their body up like that. But some people are really good at it, some people aren't.
Well, I guess that's the difference between a fast learner and a slow learner.
Yeah.
It could still be possible.
Yeah.
They're just gonna have to work a little bit harder to get it.
Exactly.
You know, I'm not a natural jumper or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I've worked myself up to a 37. The thing about me and my age is, as I continue to train, injuries happen a little bit more.
Yeah.
I get a little bit more strains and things like that. And that slows me down. And we kind of had this past summer with you. We were trying to push, and you wanted to push your deadlift and your squat at the same time.
And throwing all combined.
And it kind of melted you for a little bit, didn't it?
Yeah.
You know,
Had to
you
take
were.
2 weeks off.
Did we monitor your squat speed with a 10? Yeah, we did.
Tendo,
Yeah, to get you
And
to
that's
4 or
why
5
we made
for 2.
such huge jumps, because I was all the way at 315, probably started doing squats, and
Under the
within
water bottle.
probably a week, I was up doing 405 for sets of 3 just because we used a Tendo unit, so I was doing it, but at the same time, like, I was stubborn and wanted to do things that you advised me against, but at the same time, I think that the great part about you is you allow your athletes to learn themselves as well, because without knowledge, it's kind of useless. Because after
Yeah, 'cause
everybody
I
goes to
would-
college at some point, if I don't know what I'm doing, then
I wanted you to be successful, but at the same time, I was trying to warn you that you can kind of get fried.
yeah,
And you got fried, so then you understood what I was talking about. And I was
Yeah.
warning you about it, but the biggest thing, the only way to know is to do.
exactly.
And so then once you say, okay, and you don't think you can happen, because like at y'all's age, you're really young and you can recover a lot better than I can. And I've just seen it happen, like with you, it's happened with Ben Baggett, it's happened, Jameson Dash, kicked at Toledo.
Yeah.
He's even starting to get fried. Y'all can't do as much.
Mm-hmm. You got to learn how to take care of yourself more and more as you grow up, because I mean, even as the bigger you get and stuff like that, it requires more energy to warm up an extra set. Because I mean, at a young age, you could put 135 on you a couple times and you're ready for your set. Now, like you and me, we've got to do multiple weights just to get warmed up.
Yeah, I was joking around. It takes me longer to warm up than it does work out, and I hate warming up. It takes a lot of time, takes a lot of energy away from everybody else. Once I get warmed up, then I get my stuff done. Warming up actually hurts.
Yeah, but it's necessary.
Yeah, especially I can't jump into it. And the bar, warming up with the bar on front squats or warming up with 135 on front squats hurts more than doing 275 and 315.
Yeah.
It just takes a little while to get my joints greased up, ready to roll, get them lubed, and knock it out. Now, you're a baseball pitcher, but yeah, you still bench press, right?
All the time.
The bench press is correlated with peak power. What exercises do you think best transfer to pitching as far as what you do? We've not really, these years, I wish I would have tracked, and I know what I did with that softball team that had an average increase of 7 miles an hour, but main thing I've always been focused around here at tracking has been jumping and running. You know, and I've not really had a lot of baseball players come through, but you, Ben, Jonathan Roberts, who went to pitch at Georgia Tech, he would come in and grind. He was scared to bench, but he still benched anyway, regardless of what people get in your mind and do whatever. But John benched and went from 88 to 93.
Yeah.
Do you do pull-ups? I know Ben Baggett does a lot of weighted pull-ups.
I did a lot of pull-ups over the summer, and I thought that helped strengthen a lot of things, but just on a daily basis, throwing made my arm feel better. It made it felt healthier. It felt like I was more in control of what I was doing and could repeat everything.
So do you have any exercise that you think correlates or helps you with your throws?
Definitely the pull-ups, because that's your main throwing muscle. Legs is huge, so whether it's deadlifts, squats, whatever you choose to do in regards to legs, it's, creating force by pushing off the mound, but
Now-
everything in general.
Yeah, I would switch you box squat, regular squat. You even competed in powerlifting competitions.
Yeah, back into that.
It helps. I mean, you all of a sudden you're getting stronger, then all of a sudden your sporting movements
Yeah.
go up, and you're not even focused on your sport.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was going to try to bring Seymour in today. He deadlifted 600 the other day, high school senior, and he don't throw a baseball, but he's strong in the bench, he's strong in the squat, and he's strong in the deadlift. I'm trying to get him to squat 500.
Yeah.
And he's around 200 pounds.
And he played quarterback at Trinity, so that's just showing like being strong. Like obviously, had the arm movements to be able to throw a football.
Yeah,
run
what
football.
may not have been the prettiest. I never watched him play.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Like if you get the job done,
That's all because I think he's strong. I don't think if he's strong, then
he gets beat up easier, and it's harder for him to do what he does.
Yeah, so I'd like to get him in here, test him, put that out there on Instagram or something, see whether a kid can throw a baseball when they don't ever throw a baseball,
Yeah, he's
just
never played
by
baseball.
generally being strong.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to read some questions that I get. I know with Ben Baggett, he would do dumbbell jumps, and we can do this with you, or if you even did it. I can't really remember a whole lot of crap all the time. But Ben would come in here, he'll do dumbbell jumps, like today, tomorrow he'll go throw.
Yeah.
His throwing was faster the day after he jumped. And so then what we did is we would have days where he didn't come in here and jump at all, and he'd go throw, and his throwing velocity was not as high.
Mm-hmm.
Did we ever do that with you?
Never tested it like that, no. But there's definitely been. You could see. I think the day after a workout, you feel. I mean, of course, the day, like especially dumbbell jumps, you worked on your power and pushing off, and I think that's a very similar motion to what you do on the mound. So that would make sense to me, but no.
Yeah, because you got to push off pretty quick, don't you?
Definitely.
What's your highest vertical?
39.2.
Almost another 40-inch
Yeah.
vertical
Close.
in the books, huh?
Work for it this summer.
Yeah, we'll try to get there before you get to Winthrop.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how'd your baseball recruiting process go as far as high school? When did you start getting looked at, and let's kind of journey down that road.
Pretty much, as I said, like I took off time from the gym, and that's when I focused most on recruitment and baseball specific things. And I really struggled at first. Like I talked to a lot of junior colleges, a lot of like D3s, NAIs, like small schools, which nothing against it. And I actually am at a junior college now, but I waited and finally got back into the gym, and numbers shot up again, and was able to output some better velocity in numbers, and got in the more schools that looked at me, and then I got more money from the schools that were looking at me. So I struggled in high school, but took the route, continued to work with you and work with stuff, and allow myself to build to now I'm going to a Division I program in Winthrop.
Yeah, because this summer you really grinded hard. Kind of fried your nervous system a little bit, you wanted to push the deadlift and the squat at the same time, and I said no, but you still pushed and grinded, and you learned from that. But the whole point is you still came. You had to work out. Because once you started working out, you started getting more interest from other schools. Your velocity went back up, and everything else started to kind of happen for you.
I mean, looking at professional athletes now, especially in the game of baseball, like your Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge, even pitchers like Noah Syndergaard and Aaron Hicks, people who throw 100 plus miles an hour, like they're humongous. They look like football players. They belong on a football field, and ESPN analysts always compare like, ooh, he could be on a football field. Why is he pitching in a baseball game?
Yeah, I give Willis crap all the time. Football players are more athletic.
Yeah.
They're stronger and they're faster. They're able to produce a lot more power, and it's because football players are in the weight room starting around 8th grade generally. Baseball players don't really get into the weight room until they get to college. Did y'all hit the weight room at JUCO?
We did.
Yeah, and so they start
in there 6 a.m.s, after practices, all sorts of stuff.
So you spend most of your high school career, for an average baseball player,
Not in it at all.
never lifting.
Yeah.
Because they don't make you get in the weight room like they do in high school football. High school football, you have weight training as a class all the
It's
time.
mandatory. You
Yeah.
can't play if you don't take that.
And so some of these baseball players don't really get developed until they go to JUCO.
Not at all.
What would you say to a young Daniel Blair, say 9th grade? What would you go back if you could? What would you tell yourself to do? Because you've gone through high school, you're in college, you've done the JUCO route.
Yeah.
You think the JUCO route was pretty good for you then? You happy you did that way?
I'm very happy I decided to go JUCO.
Okay.
Just because I think, especially graduating after my senior year, coming back and trusting in the process of this, I feel like I learned a lot. Like I said, over the summer, fried my nervous system, but I learned a lot from that. And I feel like I'm more knowledgeable now that if I could put myself back in my shoes freshman year of high school or whenever, that I would know that the weight room is where I need to be, and that, for instance, Casey and Kyle's, which I found late, is where I need to be. That it's not about your showcases spending $100, because in reality, if you're showcasing a bad athlete who's not producing good numbers, then
Yeah,
you're
because
wasting your money.
Because that's what ultimately you're doing when you go to show.
Yeah.
You're looking to exit velo.
Yeah.
You're
60
looking at
times.
60 times. What else? Throwing
How hard you throw across a diamond from the
Yeah.
outfield. Like, they look at numbers. In
Yeah.
reality, it's numbers.
And so if you don't have the physical ability to get those numbers,
then you're wasting your money at these perfect game and all PBR showcases and stuff. As a freshman in high school who, like, get in the weight room, gain your weight, like, work on your craft, and then, I mean, if you could throw 90 miles an hour off credential, then yeah, go do your showcases. But if you're not there, like, you need to do the necessary things to get there before you go try to showcase a bad time.
yeah, because some people, like we were talking about earlier, they're born and they're able to throw very hard,
Yeah.
and they don't have to work at it.
Yeah.
Well, there's other people that do not run a 4.440,
No.
that run a 5 flat, maybe a 5.340. They have to work at it.
Yeah.
Just because you're not there does not mean you cannot get there. No telling how much time it's going to take you to go from point A to point B, because everybody has their own adaptation rate. But I think that they just need to get in there and get working.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to tell someone that.
Yeah, but it's a lot of things too. Like, I wish I could have gone back. I wish when I was I remember my powerlifting competition, I was 150 pounds, and I wish I was 200 pounds and put it the same number. Like, I think it's lifting, weight gain, stretching correctly to prevent injury and stuff like that.
You still got to work on your craft
Yeah,
as
gotta
you get
do
stronger,
everything.
because especially as a pitcher, you don't have to be as accurate as an outfielder.
No.
But like Barry Bonds and all those kids, like even I was telling someone, Bo Jackson
Yeah.
threw someone out from the outfield all the way home, but that was a monstrous, strong, athletic guy.
He's huge. Like, I think baseball is seeing the development and strength specifically on how it used to be thought poorly upon, and now that it's a huge thing that you can't compete without the numbers, like the 60 times and everything like that.
Yeah, because if steroids wouldn't be banned, strength
Yeah.
wasn't as important.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have as many home runs like that, do you? Like the Barry Bonds and
That's the game of baseball now. People throwing 100 miles an hour and people hitting home runs. And I mean, you see that even the people who are freak athletes work out and create bigger bodies because being an athlete isn't enough anymore. With how many freaks you have now that you've got to train, you see that they're huge. Like, Giancarlo's not born that big.
yeah, John Rocker walked in here one day, and I couldn't get over how big he was.
Yeah.
And he was a monstrous dude. He could throw it too, but
Yeah.
he was coming here to the weight room
Yeah.
to lift some weights. But I think it just depends on how all these. I think a lot of stuff we see here in the U.S. in particular is these fitness magazines, these bodybuilding magazines. You don't have performance magazines out there on the shelf, so we're reading all this bodybuilding stuff. And like with Arnold popularized lifting here in the U.S., if you lift like a bodybuilder, you're not going to have the sports performance side of it. So I think sports performance is so new, still relatively new, that people are still judged upon lifting weights like bodybuilding. Like, you go to school and lift weights, yeah, but if you're lifting sets of 8 to 12 reps, you know, you're hindering strength development and primarily focused on muscular development. And I think people need to understand there's a difference between developing strength through a muscular development versus neuromuscular development. You know, you have functional strength training, which is more neuromuscular, and you got structural, which is more muscular size. You know, so
And it's hard to find people who know the difference between muscle training and neuro training, between whether doing the low reps and your high reps, because in reality, like, your sons are great examples. Colton's not the biggest guy, and he's one of the freaks of the gym. Like, Brooks Hardy, not the most athletic guy, one of the freaks of the gym. You don't have to be big.
yeah, they
to be
weren't.
good.
I wish I would have made them bigger. You know, so people would look, man, they're monstrous. But then you get people walk into the gym and they can perform, and they look like they can.
Yeah.
But that's the whole point about being an athlete.
Mhm.
You know, I'm not building big, bulky, muscular bound athletes here. You're a perfect example too.
Yeah.
But Colton's arms, I think, were only like 14, maybe 14 and a half inches, and repping 405 for 2.
Yeah, which is monstrous numbers that people don't see. But I think football is a good thing that people get big but aren't always strong. It's
Yeah,
hard to
like
find the right strength trainers that know that strength training is more important than just looking big.
Yeah, and it's hard to tell because everybody thinks they know about lifting weights. yeah, you may know how to move the bar around, you may know how to do a curl or a pull up or whatever,
Yeah.
but do you know how to prescribe the sets and reps in order to make the body do something different, you know?
Yeah.
If you look at like a bodybuilder, a strongman competitor, a power lifter, even a CrossFit, everybody's got a different shaped body.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they even have these little pictures on Instagram with all them with the gym bags look totally different.
Yeah.
And so I think people, average people, I will say, think that everything's the same. Like, why would I come here when I can just go work out at school?
Yeah.
Well, first off, your strength coach at high school went to school to be a teacher.
Yeah. Didn't read up on what he's doing. Kind of probably Googled it, and kudos to him for putting that much effort in, I guess. But
Yeah, and so I get a lot of crap from the strength coaches around here, but still produce the strongest and the fastest athletes at these local schools.
Mm-hmm.
And so they give me crap for it, but if they would really look at it, that kid goes to their school, so they're ultimately one that shines.
Yeah.
And I wish what we would have done with this baseball, I don't have a lot of baseball players, like I said, like you, that really push yourself. You,
Yeah.
Ben, if I could find a few more, there are starting to be Chaz Crawford starting to come into work. Rieselman works.
Yeah, definitely. He works. I even thought Demirez, I give him a hard time about everything, but works on his run like no other.
Yeah, and he comes in and he lifts. He went from doing 205 for one, now he's repping 270.
Yeah.
And so he's really learned, because he went to a speed place a year before and didn't change his speed.
Yeah.
Same thing with Burton.
Yeah, Burton went to, what was it? Wherever, and what was it, a year you said he changed and ran the same exact thing?
Yeah, and his dad sent me a text message about a month after he'd been here. And they went and maxed out at school because he didn't come here for a while, and it was actually a dead on a year, November to November, that he's not been here. And his dad sent me a text message. Burton benched 285, and he said that's the same thing he did last year.
Yeah.
Well, it is high school lifting, and if you do go to a speed place, they don't know a whole lot about lifting. So we're trying to get Burton's ran a 5.1, he ran a 5.0 the second time. So hopefully, he's been really grinding. His squat speed's going up. He went from moving 290 at a 0.6 to now he moved 350 at 0.6.
Yeah.
On the squat, so he may be able to skip a 4.9 and get to a 4.8 in his 40. And if he's able to do that, he should hit a 6.7 60-yard dash. Usually a 4.9 and a 40, and here with the laser will yield 6.8.
Yeah.
And so,
do you want to explain what 0.6 and all that is?
You can.
Yeah, the 0.6 in the Tendo unit doesn't make sense to people, but who use it, I guess. So.
Yeah, I try to promote the Tendo unit a lot, because with your squats, okay, we'll talk about that. When I'm writing your numbers, I'm basing your numbers and your sets and your reps off of your speed.
Speed of bar movement.
Yeah, and so that's what 0.6 meters per second. So once, and you were hitting sevens. For those who don't know what a Tendo unit is, you need to go buy one because it's hard to explain.
Yeah.
I may put out some YouTube videos to show what the Tendo unit is, show these people working on the Tendo units, and try to figure out where we need to be. I like the 0.6 because we're going for more strength speed instead of speed strength. Speed strength are dumbbell jumps. And I think that goes back to these high school coaches, whoever else, these average people, they don't realize that there are different vectors of strength.
Yeah.
You gotta have maximum strength, you gotta have strength speed, and you gotta have speed strength.
Yeah.
And you gotta have reactive ability too. Like we do depth jumps, we do dumbbell jumps, we squat, but everybody, you have to be strong before you become fast.
Yeah.
And so that's why I don't have everybody in the gym on Tendo units.
Yeah.
And so once you kind of deserve and show that your work ethic is there and you do start to develop some strength, you're getting above 300, maybe 400 in the squat, then we can kind of monitor that around. Just like I told Ryan King, she plays lacrosse. She was one of my first girls to jump a 30-inch vertical. I told Ryan, I said, look, I need you to move 185 at 0.6 something meters per second on the Tendo unit for a front squat.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be pretty sick to have a girl.
Yeah, that's huge. I may not be able to do that.
What do you think? It'd be nice if we would go back and if we would attract. I just not had a pool of baseball players. I keep saying that. I know it's kind of annoying, but I wish I would attract throwing speed per month, and then did like. I know if we go from box squat to regular squat, the running speed don't change.
Yeah.
You know, what if we went from front squat to box squat and monitored those different styles of squats with throwing? You know, it may not have as much of an impact on throwing as it does running.
Yeah.
Or pull-ups. As your pull-ups went up 10 pounds, what happened to your throwing velocity? You know, it'd be nice if we can kind of.
I think that's something that almost athletes have to take upon themselves to even like take up with you. I think Baggett does probably the best job about it, wanting to change things up for himself, whether it's different bars on bench or different type of squats. Sometimes he dumbbell benches instead of bar benches, and he definitely tries to find what's best for him. And I mean, some people front squat, or some people free squat more than they do box squat. I think you also have to find what's right for you. But without someone who has the box squats and knows what they're doing, it's hard to do more than just what's regular thought about between your power cleans and your back squats that a lot of people don't even get enough depth on. And
Yeah, we don't even do power cleans here.
no, never have.
So, but we have some of the most explosive athletes there are.
Yeah.
You know, jumping abilities not natural in both. I don't know what your older brother Zach and Jacob's all been here.
Oh, yep.
I think Zach jumped a 39-inch vertical.
Yeah.
You know what Jacob's number is?
He's lower. He's not as good as us.
36.
Quite
He's
yet.
not. He's not.
No, he's not there yet.
And so,
But
Yeah,
he's
that's some 5 yet.
I think Jacob's the bulkiest of those three, and I think Jacob's got the most. Like he's always. I mean, he was the little brother, kind of got beat up upon and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
I like
I think he's got an opportunity to bench more than all of us.
but he's not as consistent as you and your older brother were.
Yeah. He's-
But I gave Jacob a compliment. Man, Jacob, I mean, you look pretty much. You look pretty good.
Yeah.
But then he'll show up for a little stint and falls off the earth and shows up again. And those ups and downs are never long enough to where if he would stay here a little bit longer, would get even more. You know, sometimes when you're trying to improve or change your body, you're not changing as fast as what you think it should happen. So I think people just get frustrated and kind of quit.
Yeah, but I think that's everybody. I think a lot of people, especially like you come for 6 months and you make these astronomical jumps in your bench and squat stuff, and I mean you're bound to hit a plateau at some point. You can't always get better. And I think that frustrates people, and it's hard to make them understand that like that's normal and that's okay to like hit a plateau. You're still 30, 40 pounds stronger than you were, and you'll hit that jump again at some point.
What do you think the atmosphere is like, or for a new person? Because we think 35-inch vertical, or even a 33, we think that's bad.
Yeah, I think it's.
And so when people will see those numbers, they're like, when they leave the gym and go somewhere, so like if when Skowski went to Clemson, he was surprised how much stronger he was than everybody else. Someone was talking.
Clemson football, not top 5 in the nation every year.
Yeah, I think Landon Mathis, when he went to West Georgia, the strength coach there was really surprised at how strong he was.
Yeah. Like, for instance, I brought Brandon Thomas, who's one of my roommates at school, in the summer. And he's a big kid. He's 6'3", he's near 200 pounds, like, and can curl more than I can. Can do flies much more than I can. Like, can do a lot of things better than I can. And came in and I think was partially intimidated by the gym because the standard here is so much higher than I think it is at like a world gym, because you go to world gym and you have your moms and your dads, you really just want to look good compared to everybody in here is like yelling at each other, like you got people crazy enough to bang their heads on the walls and stuff like that. Like it's competitive, and a 35 is an okay vertical at this gym, where if you jump a 35 at any of your high schools, like
You're jumping out the gym, and they don't realize that, and they don't realize how strong they are until they get put in a pool of other people at their schools and things like that. And they're like, oh, okay, these people are not as good as I thought they were.
Yeah. I think what's his name? Spencer Perry's a great example. Went to Notre Dame. He was huge, like most athletic kid I've ever seen.
Yeah, he's the one that you.
trainers.
Man, looks like that dude's strong.
Yeah,
looks like he's fast. He spent way too much time on the freaking ladder. He would come in I don't have ladders here, but you would see him on Instagram or whatever. He'd be out in the field running on ladders, and he would always even practice his footwork over here on the turf.
He'd bring ladders, and you were like, what's that?
Yeah, and so then you test him, he runs a 5'1", 5 flat 40. How do you, that's him on laser. And so then they'll get frustrated. I don't really run that. Yeah, you do. People are lying to these kids.
Yeah.
You know, you run what you run, and you need to run on a consistent timing system to really figure this out.
Yeah.
So 5'1", 5 flat 40, goes plays DB at Notre Dame.
Yeah. Which is incredible.
225 bench. I think he started bench. Then we took him to 270. Then went to IMG Academy, and he came back with a 245 bench. So we went from 225 to 275. Went to IMG Academy for a year. Came back, was a 245 bencher. I said, "So what the hell y'all do there?" He said, "We work on preventing injury."
Yeah. IMG is one of the greatest football high schools in the country.
"You work on do a lot of injury prevention." I said, "You know how you prevent injury? You get stronger." I said, if your legs and your arms are stronger, those muscles that cross those joints are going to be able to hold that joint together a lot longer and a lot better for when you have impact and all the weighted pressure from the external load of squatting or the benching or whatever type of load y'all want to do. It's going to make your bones thicker. You know, like someone hit Ryan King, she's been lifting here since she was 8th grade. Someone hit her with a lacrosse stick, and the lacrosse stick broke over her arm, and all she did was get a small bruise.
Yeah.
You know,
I think we've got, like, I guess you've been here longer than I have, but you've got hundreds and hundreds of athletes, and I don't think there's really a history of people getting injured.
no, and if they do happen, I mean, that's, yeah, you're right. I've had a few injuries, but it's,
But a lot of times you recover quicker, I think, just because of how your muscle system works, because you're used to recovering muscles from
Yeah.
big lift days and stuff like that.
yeah, I had 2 twins. I don't know if you were here at the point in time when they were here. Well, one of them tore their ACL in May, and she'd been training with me. This was her senior year. She's been training with me since their sophomore year, maybe mid-freshman. And that strength allowed her to recover a lot quicker because she's already had the muscular strength, and her body was able to repair itself a lot easier because it's used to repairing itself because of all the continued stress of lifting and things. And she was able to play her senior season of volleyball.
Yeah.
Then get a scholarship to go play at Elon University. So that's pretty cool. And we had a pec tear with Landon Mathis, and geez, he did it on a warm up.
Yeah.
So it's not even like we're doing well, we're not just jumping into the weights. And like high school, you just kind of go into the weight room. Whatever's on the board is what you do first. There's no warm up.
I remember going in, and they want us to, like, say you're a 500 squatter, which is a huge number, and that day your set's 80%. So whatever number that's going to be, and they want you to be ready to go in like 2 minutes. Like, how do you warm up for doing sets of 300, 400 in 2 minutes? They just want you to put weight on the bar and go.
Yeah, they're not really concerned about a warm-up process. You know, like people come in here, and if we're supposed to start the day at 4 o'clock, we're not going to start our first set till about 4:20.
Yeah.
You know, we're going
The earliest.
yeah, especially at 4 o'clock because the kids don't get out of school in time, so we just kind of drag in. So I usually let everybody go back about 4:05, 4:10 range, and then we spend about 8-10 minutes warming up before we start our first set. You know, because if you got like Spieka was squatting 540 the other day for reps. Landon was squatting. Landon, how much were you squatting the other day?
440.
440 for reps. You know where?
So those people got to warm up like the 135, 225. A lot of times they'll go 275, 315, like 365. Like it takes time, and you need to do it though in order to stay healthy. But in addition, if you're a high school football player, you have your lift at school. Say you have football practice and football season, and then a lot of people still come here and get work here after practice, and it's like you've got to learn to take care of yourself at the same time. So.
Yeah, you know, and if you got school weight training or whatever, I generally sometimes work around what they have. You know, the kids will come in and tell me, hey, look, we did this, this, and this at school. Okay, well, we'll do this. You know, oftentimes they are regular squatting, so we can box squat. So it's a different form of squatting to where we can always push.
Yeah.
And so I didn't realize this the other day, but I didn't realize Colin Clayton benched 435 as a high school senior.
Yeah.
I've had, I think, 8 or 9, and that's surprising. I just actually posted on Instagram after 2 years.
Yeah. I saw it today, and I was like, he's not a high school senior, but I realized that it was an older video.
Yeah, because you saw your brother Zach walking around the back, and Robert Given was spotting him, so this is kind of like, that's what he did back in the day. And so I couldn't, man. And he was in here struggling doing 315 the other day. You know, he's real frustrated.
He's been he's at Barry, which is one of the best D3 football programs around. He's
Yeah.
coached it, like a great football program, even at the college level. Like sometimes they still don't figure it out.
And Alex Seymour went to Carnegie Mellon, and he came back, and he looks like He's been in a concentration camp.
Yeah. As a, what does he play? Defensive line,
Yeah.
something in that nature now. So supposed to be a bigger person. You'd think that they'd work on keeping them big. But
Yeah, and so he lost 20 pounds.
incredible.
The freshman 15 does not mean lose 15, it means gain 15.
Exactly. The ice cream. Don't have them on the cook.
And so, how's your college experience been? Pretty good with Winthrop? I mean,
I'm at Spartanburg Methodist College now. Just went JUCO road. Basically, I gave myself an extra 2 years to work and try to get to where what I thought I guess I could say was worthy of playing at, and had the opportunity to play at and pursue that.
it gives you a couple more years to learn, like you said.
Yeah, to learn and develop. And
A lot of people want to go big D1 right out of high school because it's cool, but in the long run, the
Some
knowledge that
people-
you gain going a different route is much better than being cool.
yeah, some people grow later. I mean, some people grow freshman year of high school. Some people don't grow till their junior year in college. Like, it happens at different rates, and I think you got to give yourself as much of a chance as possible to get where you need to go.
Yeah, some of these seniors will graduate high school and they'll come back a year and a half later, and I don't even recognize them because they've matured so much
Yeah.
after they left. So, what's the most you've squatted here? You did 405 for 2.
And then we ended up maxing because pushed a little
Well,
too
we-
hard, shut the nervous system down.
Yeah, we shut you down before we could really max you and really get you did 405 for 2, then
Then coming back, we had to kind of go light just to get back into it, and I ended up, we maxed like one day towards the end of summer, and I want to say it was 435, 440. So that's the most I had ever squat by 100 pounds almost.
do you think, how do you think that helped you with your throwing speed this year?
I was at school this fall sitting 91, 92, punching 93, 94 compared to last year. I hit the 94 the one time. It was my first college game ever. So, I mean, obviously the adrenaline running, but after that I sat upper 80s really. So I think with the addition of the squats and the strength of squat, my velocity, the peak was around the same, but with a much lower intent level, and I sat at a much higher rate. So on average, I think it's probably 2 to 3 miles higher with a lower intent. I wasn't grunting like you usually do, like it was a fall game, so it's kind of just, I'm trying to pound the zone and I'm throwing harder than I've ever had.
Yeah, and so the stronger you get, in general, the faster you can throw. I think you still have to work on your throwing.
So,
I think you can't just go throw, and you may get better at first, but then the limiting factor is going to be your strength. But then if you go work on your strength all the time, you don't work on your craft, that's going to be your limiting factor. I think those people who combine the strength with their skill are going to be your better athletes.
yeah. To compete at a college or professional level, wherever you want to go, it's a combination of more things than to be competitive at a high school level. You've got to add the strength, the mobility, and of course in your craft and your sport.
And I wish we would have tracked your jumping performance with your velocity, your squat numbers, as your squat increased relative to your body weight, as your pull-ups got better, as you got stronger at your pull-ups. We didn't really track a lot of those numbers. We just kind of worked on them, but your numbers changed, but we don't know specifically what really directly correlated with throwing velocity, right?
Yeah.
You just know you came in and worked and you got better at
Yeah.
it.
Haven't worked on multiple things. We had ideas, and so we kind of just threw them all into a pool, and
You got
it worked, but we don't know, I guess, exactly what part to attack.
And you benched,
I benched, I even
squatted.
I
What about front
inclined.
squatting? Did you started front squatting yet?
I front squatted in the off season, so throughout my whole fall season, I would go to the gym. I got a gym membership, and in addition to our school lifting wet, and started front squatting and kind of working on my own.
Yeah, and that's the thing I think people need to know, because I was in college, I played college football for Memphis. Sometimes the weight room at college is not enough. You know, they're not,
Yeah.
they got so many people they're trying to run through there so quickly. Same thing with a high school. You know, sometimes they only have 45 minutes in the high school weight training class.
We've got more than 50 people on our baseball team, and trying to fit them into a small junior college funded weight room, like it's just not enough to get what you need. And even though, yeah, I'm in season, I'm throwing every weekend and having games, stuff like that, but still, I'm there the night of, the night before, lifting just to do something.
Yeah, and you're going to your team lift, then you're doing like you did in high school,
Yeah,
going to get some more on your own because you got to finish up and get some stuff that you know that's going to be right for you.
yeah,
Not just kind of going in and doing a workout, I hate this workout mentality. People want to go in and just work out without training. You know, we're always, where I say training is we're pushing for numbers.
You need to have goals.
And if you're not monitoring your numbers, I don't know what you're working out. You're burning calories. Burning calories is good if you're overweight and want to lose weight. But if you're coming to this gym, or you're trying to be an athlete, you need to monitor your numbers, not just go think and do. Like I think sometimes with these baseball pitchers using bands or these crazy gimmicks, you know, like I've seen more people get slower with speed training than I have seen them get faster.
Yeah.
Speed training is increasing your horsepower. It's not just running through some drills. Look like a perfect example would be like Spencer Perry. He did ladder, and he didn't want to squat. He had a 275 squat, maybe 315 squat. That's why he is so slow. But
Conditioning can be a big factor in that too. So I guess you could almost see ladder as a form of conditioning.
yeah, or you can use it as warm up. I don't know. The best way to make your feet quicker is be able to absorb force and get rid of it. So like hurdle jumps and things like that, or depth jumps.
Pushing off.
Some type of reactive style jumping, like multi hops, would help that. You know, but some people are very good at running and jumping off of 1 foot. So that's why we do more dumbbell. That's 2 foot.
Yeah.
So you kind of need to work on what you're bad at in order to continue to increase everything.
Yeah.
You know, some people, hey, I just want to go work on my box squat because I'm good at it. Well, you need the front squat because that could be the limiting factor in keeping your squat going up. Or sometimes you would do regular squat too. We bounced around pretty good bit, didn't we?
Yeah, I've done safety squat, front squat, back squat, box squats, safety squat with a box, all sorts of stuff.
So yeah, a lot of people want to know how we do that. You know, you don't come in here one day, safety squat, next day safety squat, box squat, the next day come in the front squat. We stay 4 phase, we push and get the numbers out of that, then we switch.
Set the goal, reach the goal pretty much, and then
Yeah, and sometimes you're moving your squat speed's a lot quicker. They'll go up. It's amazing what happens when you put that tendo in front of your face.
yeah, definitely. And some days I feel fresh and I can put 6s with good numbers, and some days I come in like maybe I threw the day before and it's bad, but
Yeah, we don't,
kinda
just
know,
because if
so.
you're not, so if I want you to squat 365 in the 0.6 range, and you're hitting 5s, we stay with 365. We don't go and get rid of it. We kind of take it as a beat up day, figure out why you're kind of beat up, and then we move on to the next day. Then you have that bad set of numbers compared to with a good set of numbers at the same weight. Then we try to figure out, okay, what'd you do the day before and things like that, and then all of a sudden you come back and your numbers are better than they were on your best day. So don't take it as a beat down day and back off. You keep grinding through. You know, like sometimes you've been here, we've had 4 sets of 5 with the weight, and you come back the next time, and a lot of people have experienced this. I'll give you the same weight, and I'll ask for 1 more set. We go from 4 sets of 5 to 5 sets of 5.
yeah.
And the numbers are better. Some people may miss some reps. You know, we don't take off weight. They may go 5, 4, 3, 3. Next time they come in for the 5 sets of 5 and get all 5 sets of 5.
Yeah.
And have higher speeds, and I don't know why the adaptation like that. And you're only talking less than 72 hours. Sometimes it's 48, sometimes it's 72 hours. And they're coming here and hit more reps at a better speed.
Yeah.
And then we'll have maybe even a heavier day after that. It just depends on where that speed is.
Yeah.
You know, just kind of like what you've experienced and stuff like that. But it's really still hard to tell people how we go
To
about
know, you have to monitor everything. And I don't think the average person going to the gym has a plan even when they get there. Like, yeah, I'm gonna do chest today, but that could mean anything. I don't think people monitor their numbers, their reps, as you said, the speed with the tendo unit enough to really know how to make the correct gains at the best, most efficient rates.
Yeah, because I think that's, like you said, they're going there not even knowing what they're going to do. They may go, okay, I'm going to do chest, I'm going to start off an incline.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go to bench. We may do dumbbell bench, or heck, I may just even do dumbbell. I'll scratch all that. I'm just going to do dumbbell bench today. They don't really, if you come in here and you got a bench, we go bench.
I've seen people come in, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to do chest again. It's like, oh, I don't feel good. They're like, okay, well, don't bench today. And I'm like, it's not how it works. Like, just because I don't feel good doesn't mean I just like quit up. Like, what if you don't feel good? I got to start one day and my arm doesn't feel good. So I'm just going to tell coach, like, I don't feel like throwing today. It's not.
Yeah, like Damaris would come in and say, Jan, I can't do that today. Yeah, you can. You know, he's really learned how to kind of work and get a lot better at it.
Yeah. Just because your numbers aren't going to be as good doesn't mean don't do it.
Yeah,
Like,
they-
oh, wow, this last rep's going to be hard. Like, do
Yeah, turn the tendo unit away. I don't want to see my numbers.
Yeah.
Well, you know, okay. I'll turn it away, but I'm gonna monitor them, because I wanna see, we need to figure out where you are. But for them, it could be depressing, like if I wanted to go squat 275 at a 0.7, and I get a 5 on my first one, I'm kind of depressed for the rest of my reps.
Yeah, definitely.
Have you ever felt like that?
Yeah, it's hard, and it's hard to, like, you may have a 5-set day, like you said, and you start out set 1, and it's not where it's supposed to be or where you want it to be, and you've got 4 more sets to go after that, and it's hard to keep yourself in it.
What do you think our rest period? Our rest periods are pretty good. We rest 4 to 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's
You
always
generally on a
monitored,
squat.
and I think it needs to be monitored.
Yeah, I think sometimes at high school they're not monitoring how long the rest periods are. They're just kind of, all right, you got 5 sets of 5, and I've seen some high schools work out, and they'll do 5 sets of 5 on squat in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Impossible.
Yeah.
That's our rest break almost. Or sometimes for me,
Yeah.
we're resting generally 4 to 5 minutes.
If you're completing 5 sets of squat, really more than 1 or 2 sets of squat in 10 minutes, then you're not building strength at the rate you should be. You're not doing the weights you should be.
Yeah, because we'll have a lot of people, they'll come in, they'll squat, they'll look at the numbers I give them, and they're like, ooh, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Right, Dom? But you get it done.
Yeah, you've got to. You
Yeah,
at
it's
least give it
like,
your best shot.
okay, what do you have to do? I mean, Spieka over there, you got to get in your head, find a song, find something. Same thing with you. You know, you've come in here sometimes, you thought you weren't going to do it.
Yeah, just like that. Sometimes you put it on, like you unrack it, and it just feels heavy. Before you even do that first step, like it just feels heavy. But a lot of times you'll squat down on the box and you'll jump up, and it comes up super easy. So I'm like, sometimes it won't feel good, and it'll come out anyways. You just have to get the mindset that.
Yeah, I'm glad you hit that point, because a lot of people will come in here and they'll feel bad. You know, a lot of people will say, hey, you need to kind of monitor training on how you feel.
Yeah.
You need to monitor training off of monitoring numbers.
Yeah.
You know, if you're basing what you're going to do today based off of how you feel, you've come in here, like you just said, and you've had better numbers, and you felt like crap.
Yeah.
You know, some days you come in here and you feel great, and you have crappy numbers.
Definitely.
And so the only way to know is to monitor. And so if you're an average person out there trying to train without these things, monitoring your bar speed, or you're monitoring your squat speed reps, or whatever you're doing, if you don't have a feedback device, you don't really know what you're doing,
Yeah.
regardless of what you think. And sometimes you can film yourself on squat, you're like, man, I could have got 2 more reps with that. Based off the way it looked, but the way it feels is totally different.
Yeah.
You know, you can still feel bad, you come in here, the weight feel bad, but you have higher speeds. So, people are starting to come in.
Yeah. It's about time to get to work too.
So, is there anything else you'd like to add?
We hit. Definitely.
The jumps, we just don't know. I mean, it's a combination of increasing your strength and your power. You know, I think with particular baseball, you are a perfect example that you can still bench, still squat, front squat, box squat, back squat, compete powerlifting.
Deadlift, pull up, incline.
Yeah,
Kind of all day.
no injuries for you. You've had some ailments, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes you feel like you're about broken.
Yeah. Sometimes I need to take a week or 2 off and kind of just regroup and just kind of do some.
But you come back and you're better.
Yeah.
You know, then you don't. Then if you do quit, you know what happens. Your numbers go back.
Yeah.
And not only your strength numbers, but your main sporting numbers, such as your stroke speed. So you gotta. How do you balance all that? I guess if we have time to touch on that, how do you regulate the volume? You know.
Sleep, I think, is a big thing that is under. I mean, especially with everything you have to keep you up at night and like things you gotta wake up in the morning. I think sleep is big for me, gives me more energy. But you've really gotta have a plan. Like every day, I know I'm gonna be at NPH starting at 2:30. I know I'm gonna be here at 4 or 5 o'clock to get my lift in. I know I'm gonna eat dinner, and then I know I'm gonna maybe watch my TV show and get in bed. I think it's something you've got to have a plan. You can't just kind of go into blind.
What do you think helped with that? You think going to college really helped you learn how to schedule your stuff out, or you think your parents ingrained into you, or what do you think kind of made that click to where you started balancing out your schedule?
Kind of a mix of things. I mean, I think parents can help a lot, but I also think getting to college, you kind of realize that to not just feel awful all the time, but to get things done that you got to get done, you got to have a plan and got to have a schedule to know what you're doing and know how to balance everything that you're doing.
Be more professional. I guess if you're gonna be a professional athlete, you got to do professional things.
So you got to grow up.
That's not the fun part though.
No.
So, all right, Daniel. Do you have any social media you like to share or anything like that?
You can find me on Instagram. My name's Daniel Blair. I'll have common followers with Jared and Explosive, stuff like that.
So anyway, thanks Daniel.
Yeah.
So anyway, if y'all have any questions, you can email me at info@explosivemechanics. Follow me on Instagram @explosivemechanics or Twitter @explosivemec. Thanks for listening and have a good day.